Hello, everybody, and welcome to, I was just going to say the name of the old show. Welcome to Angel Meadows, a conversation with friends. And the reason I'm confused is because my guest tonight is one of my ex-co-hosts, and we split on really bad terms. No, we split on good terms because I love her dearly, and things just happen, and that's the way it is. My guest tonight is the one and the only and the ever adorable Jennifer's Journey. Yay! We need to have applause here. I'm gonna get I swear to God, I'm gonna get a laptop fixed so that I can have put sound into this show. Anyway, so hey Jennifer, thank you for agreeing to come on the show with me.
Of course, of course.
I didn't torture you too much when we worked the show together, so it's like you still like me.
Oh yes, always.
Okay, for those people, which is probably only one, and thank you, Cheryl, only one in the chat room right now who don't know who you are. You want to give everybody a little brush up on who Jennifer's Journey is?
Oh my goodness. Where do I start? Well, I am a psychic medium who never in a million years thought it would come this far. I always knew way beyond before my teenage years that something was going on, but I just didn't understand it. I knew it was strange, couldn't talk about it. And it took me so many years, and after so many people crossing over and everything being so crazy and me never understanding why. In 2011, I lost somebody that I was with for 18 crazy years. And the night that his body was taken out of the house, his spirit didn't leave. And I know why. He opened up, he opened up my eyes to everything that was really going on with me, and pushed, nudged, kicked me in the ass, pulled me by the hair, and sort of forced me to just embrace this and go along with it. And here I am today, 7 years later, and it's really crazy. Really crazy now. It gets crazier every day, but I don't think I could have hung on this long if it wouldn't have been the way it was.
Sorry, I just checked with somebody. I forgot to tell the time changes over here. It's not over in the UK. So certain people who are normally here all the time are going to be late because I didn't tell them about the time change. I did this last year.
Yeah, this time change. Yes, and happy Mother's Day to everybody in the UK.
Exactly. It is. It's funny how we can share things but they can be so different. I mean, Mother's Day is now over there.
Yeah.
And we have ours, it's like, okay, fine. But you know what? It doesn't matter because then we get to share. We have 2 days to celebrate. Share this one with our UK friend, our people over there. That's just UK, is Europe. And then we get to have our own in the summer when it's nice and hot and there's no frickin' snow at my yard.
Yeah, this weather's been really crazy, hasn't it?
It has this craziness.
This whole year is crazy.
It has. It's like, I was like, okay, 2018, it's going to be better. We're going to, I'm going to do what I need to do, and everything's just going to be smooth sailing. Hell no. I hate roller coasters. Now I know why, because my life is like one these days. But you know what? I wouldn't change most of it for a lot. Okay, so one of the things that's in your bio that I snuck off somebody else's show, Corinne, is you're an ordained minister. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Well, that was sort of strange too, but I kept getting being called to go to, hospitals. It was I would wake up and have from a crazy dream and just know that I was supposed to go to a hospital for some reason for somebody, certain somebody. And, you can't just get in if you're not immediate family unless you're a minister. And So I started checking things out and started, really getting involved in that, started talking to people. And just so happened that it just kept happening. And a few times I'd get to the hospital and it would strike up the craziest conversations. My loved one that, you know, today's the 7-year anniversary. I laid down one day and took a nap. And when immediately when I went to lay down, I saw his father. His father approached me, and that's when, things really started getting crazy. And I was still, doubting some things. And he told me that I needed to get up and go see Chesla's sister, who was in the hospital. Um, and I jumped up and I thought about it for a few minutes and I, felt the urge. So I did go to the hospital. I was such a wreck at that time. So much was happening. I actually quit driving because, I was starting to see the blue pearl, colors were flashing in front of me. It was all coming at me so fast. So my daughter took me. And I was a nervous wreck thinking, am I doing the right thing? Why am I really going? What's going on? And I got to the hospital, and my daughter and I were talking all the way there about, spirituality, versus religion. And, they always knew, there's something crazy about mom. There was always something crazy going on around the house. So, but she was, questioning, we were talking, spirituality, versus religious and things. So I did make my trip to the hospital. And when I approached the room, her husband was there, her son, and his girlfriend. And um, it was really, when I first went into the room, I I thought it was my imagination, but I could see, Cheslith standing there and his father. His mother had also passed. I was wondering, why she wasn't there. And so I went into the room and her husband was there and I was talking to him and, she had some unfinished business. Just as Chesla had left, he had left unfinished business, caused a lot of problems. And if she was to go, it would cause some of the same problems there too. So, everybody kept saying she wasn't responding. She wasn't talking. She was just laying there ready to go. I took her husband to the side, talked to him. He said he couldn't talk to her. He had never gone through anything like this. And I looked up and I saw her mother. So I approached her. I held her hand and I started whispering in her ear. And all of a sudden there was a call, a code blue. She was in intensive care. There was a code blue down the hall. And I stepped outside to get my composure. And I, took a few steps forward and I was watching everything going on. And I looked down the hall and I saw the spirit of somebody. And this woman that they call the code blue on, she did make it. And I saw the spirit vanish. And I was like, okay. So I stayed and I did have my conversation with her. And I spoke to her and I said, if you're ready to go, this is your choice. But if you're ready to stay, that is your choice too. And she responded to me. Floored me, floored everybody in the room. She responded. She hadn't spoke. She hadn't shook her head. The doctor was there right before I got there. And they were in the hallway and talking about taking her off the life support, putting her in a hospice and, removing her from life support if she didn't respond within a couple of days. And she did. She lived. And she did take care of what she took care of. But I called my daughter. I'm like, come get me. I'm ready to get out of here. And we had just been talking about a minister that we knew. And when she picked me up, she says, you're not going to believe this. She says the craziest thing happened. She was at the house, and my sister and this minister were, very close. And she says, Pastor Aaron, um, her aunt had called and said that Pastor Aaron was leaving the church, and that, everybody was so shook up and, couldn't, understand why. But he had decided that working in, with hospice and patients in the hospital on a more spiritual level was more of his calling. And I think that's the first time that I really let out my squeal. It was just like something just went through my whole body. I had goosebumps from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head. Tears started, and I knew, something said, this is what you are meant to do. I know I had been told before, I always worked with people, did, many things, but I was always told when I couldn't go back to work that I would be doing, things differently with helping people. And so I went home and I really thought about it. And I know, hospice would be too much on me. I'm a big empath. But yeah, I thought about it for a couple days and I decided, okay, it's time to start researching and reading and, doing everything I possibly can to get involved in this. And I decided, okay, I got a couple more calls asking me to come to the hospital. And of course, if you're not family, they don't want to let you in at certain hours. And, I'd be up there pushing my way in. So I decided, okay, it's time to become an ordained minister, if nothing, else. So that's why I decided to do that. And I'm glad I did because, then it became more common.
Yeah.
And now here, I don't know how it is everywhere else, but now here, more physicians are seeking out to find out, more of the spiritual. Before you had to be a chaplain, you had to be a minister, you had to have but now more physicians here are so much more open to the spiritual side of things, and they just don't know how to go about it, about how to approach it, how to explain it. So those doors are opening up here more.
Yeah, it's true. We as both in goodness gracious, we're getting a busy chat room. First of all, let me just say, hey, Brian, Diane Brighton, Diane Jane. Oh, we got two Dianes.
Hello, everybody.
HSBC, Scott. I'm glad your twin left. He was the evil guy. So welcome, everybody. My guest, in case you don't know, is Jennifer's Journey, and we're having a good time. But yeah, unfortunately, there are many people who are so afraid of religion,
Yeah.
that when you hear, my time is coming, who do you go to? Who do you see? So what I like about you is you're not, you may be a minister, but you're a spiritualist. Okay.
Yes.
And for me, there was this saying that went around on Facebook a bajillion years ago. Morning, sweetie. That religion is somebody else's belief, and spirituality is my belief, which is true, because we all know that when we're born and our parents get to choose our religion for us. That's giving us a foundation, whether we continue on with it through our lives or not. But you have taken it to another level. So, which I think is totally awesome.
Yes.
And
Well,
I think that's something that I want to look into.
Yeah. It just so happened that while I was there, a newly ordained chaplain had showed up, very young guy, and her son was there, and he was more of the I'd say Pentecostal. He called himself Baptist, but I'd say more of a Pentecostal belief. And he started throwing questions at this poor young guy, and this guy didn't even know how to respond. Of course, I wasn't going to, step in and say anything. But the poor guy didn't even know how to respond. And, I wanted to say, well, hell, all her loved ones are here standing around, pushing her to, and of course, her son is one of those that you can't give up. You can never give up. You have to fight to the end. I don't care if you can't breathe, if you can't talk, you can't, but I felt that was her option. And that, but thank goodness she did take care of the thing. And then once she made her peace with everything and, was able to take care of, her things, she did go. But it was always a fight for her. So yeah, that's why I made my decision. I'm like, and near this poor guy, he didn't know what to say. He did not know how to answer any questions. Jimmy asked him straight up, do you believe in life after death? Do you believe if my mother passes, and I'm trying to get them out in the hallway because she can hear everything that's going on, but it was just wild. So it did. It gave me an awful lot to think about. And I was like, no, I am going to do this. I actually went to see somebody one day and I was very nervous about it. And I had felt really guilty because I knew that there was something I needed to tell her. And when I finally got the courage to do it, she already wound up in hospital. And when I went to see her, as soon as I got to the door, she wanted me to come closer. And when I got up, she says, I know you're my angel here on earth. I froze. I didn't know how to take that. I was like, what, but I knew she had crossed twice. I just knew it. I felt she had crossed over twice and came back for a reason. And I did find out later on that actually she had passed twice. They brought her back too, but I knew that if she went again, she wasn't coming back. So, and she's doing very good now.
Yes, which is cool. A couple of things that you mentioned during your thing. Me, I take notes. Okay, you mentioned the blue pearl. Explain that one. Saw the blue pearl.
The blue pearl. Yeah. When all these things started happening to me, I started exploring anything that would have, I was led to Blog Talk Radio. I was led to all the teachers and the mentors and the counselors. Thank goodness things were the way they were then, because I would have been lost. You just don't go out there and ask somebody, I'm seeing these colors. I'm seeing these things dancing around. But I was actually going through the spiritual flu. And I didn't know what was wrong with me, but all these crazy things were happening. And I was taking in so much and not sleeping at night. I was writing all the time. I was reading, getting excited. There was so much going on that I actually got the spiritual flu. And
okay, quick one before you go further. Spiritual flu?
Oh, yes. Yes, I did. I didn't even know there was such a thing. But yes, I cleansed myself. I went through things with the eyes. My third eye felt like it was going to bust through my head. There were times I would actually get sick. Times that I would have to just run somewhere to lay down because the room would start spinning. Once I started meditating and grounding and balancing myself, those things started slowing down. But I was, questioning everything. I would question everything. And I started seeing a beautiful blue ball.
Just like in the picture.
Oh, yes, just like in my picture. I would see this big, beautiful blue ball, and it would appear and then it would go away, and my head would tingle. I'd get the chills and I'd start seeing, and I was like, why do I keep seeing this? It started happening when we would be out on the road. I would think about something and I would see this. So one day I was like, okay, I've got to find out what, am I seeing this like the dancing colors and I heard the word blue pearl. And I was like, okay. So I looked up blue pearl and there it was. It was, actually a sign of validation.
Mm-hmm.
So of course I squealed. I was happy, I was like, wow.
And
So,
come on, you weren't just happy. You squealed when you get that shiver, and shit is right on, and spirit is like kicking you in the ass full time. You squeal like a happy
yeah,
little.
yeah,
It's like I've heard it many times in my ears. Cable, be ready
yeah.
for it.
Well, he used to make me squeal. He would do silly things, and make me
Mm-hmm.
squeal, jump out at me, do silly stuff. And
It's a voice.
actually, a friend of mine who went through this with me, um, that's another crazy story. She always made a similar sound, and I could never understand what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she, never elaborated too much, but when I'd say he's out there, he's as the robin bird, and he's sitting out there and he's looking at me like, get your ass out here and cut this grass. What's wrong with you? And she'd say, yeah, they're but she was always making a similar noise, and I never really, it's like, what? Why does Rachel keep making this noise? Well, then I finally figured it out. I make a similar noise. I'm just a little louder and my squeal's a higher pitch.
Much
But yes,
higher.
yeah. And I know that's him.
Mm-hmm.
I know he would make me get excited about things. And I just know, he's a jokester and will always be a jokester. And I know he will always be with me. And
Mm-hmm.
it makes everything lively.
It does. Conversations with you. When we have conversations, you have a conversation with anybody. The point is, it's never just a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah.
There's always somebody coming through with something, whether it's for the person you're having a conversation with or somebody else. Okay. Bring me a plate back, Cheryl. Okay, I'm getting hungry. My package here. Because nobody brought any snacks. Okay. But yeah, you have a conversation. We have a conversation with you, and it's never a conversation. It's just like, there's no way we can be back to normal to what we,
Right.
to just have, and this is a lot. This is another thing that I think that sort of aggravates the bejeebers out of me, is that I don't mind when spirit comes through, but it's like sometimes we need to just be Jennifer, not
Uh-huh.
Jennifer's journey, you know,
Yep.
and to do that, to be that, we've had to learn to ground ourselves and protect ourselves and build up these walls and these, giant castles, for some people have it, that keep spirit out for when we need to have that moment of peace.
Yes.
And so what is it that you do when to ground yourself, to get just sort of like to say, hey, spirit, back the truck up, please, darling. I need me team. Jennifer has to just be Jennifer. And I want to have a cigarette. I want to go to, sit in the park, or just no connection. What is it that you do?
Oh, I just let it out there. You
Okay.
can't, of course, I'm not going to say you can't come, um, because I do. I get spirit riding with them in the car. I just, I'm at my kid's house, that's not a problem because they're so used to it. And
Mm-hmm.
if something wasn't, happening, it wouldn't be normal anymore. But if I'm, matter of fact, two of them were talking about that today. But, if I'm going to a courthouse or, and of course, sometimes I'll see something or I'll hear something. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I'll bite my tongue. But I just say, okay, we have to behave here. We're not, nobody, I can't have anybody coming through. If you do, let's keep it on a down low. I try to keep it light and funny too.
Don't make me
So,
squeal in the middle of the
yeah.
courtroom. It's
Oh,
not gonna
please.
work.
Don't make me squeal. I know I've embarrassed my kids quite a few times, but yeah,
Oh, but that's what kids are for.
I just, I say, hey, we have to, tone it down. But there are times that, you are meant to say something.
Yes.
And, and there's always the opportunity, brought forth, to be able to do that as well. I've
Mhm.
noticed if it's really important and you're not going to get that opportunity, um, you might not ever see this. Something always comes up that brings it out. So, I balance it out.
Yes.
I'm not like
Share
Teresa
it with.
Caputo. My kids accuse me of that too. But no, I'm not like her. I'm not just gonna jump out in front of you at the store and say, "Hey, I got your,"
Yeah, but we got to remember that she's doing a show. She is
right.
not like that
Yeah,
because
she does it.
there was
Yeah,
somebody, there was somebody who I can't remember who it was, who went to her live show, and she was a little bit to her big flamboyant personality is her.
I
You know,
went
it's
to a
like,
show.
and but she's not, it's like when you do a TV show, there's always
Yes,
producers, if it's like they go
the
in
Hollywood.
beforehand, or exactly, because
Yes,
it's a
I
show.
actually went to her show.
They
She's awesome.
Yeah, and she's got to get ratings on the show. So, like, I mean, we all have our own moments. It's just, she has. And like I said, for me, if I would go anywhere with you just to watch you squeal. Just to have, I mean, because gotta remember, people, I have never met Jennifer in person. She keeps promising for me to cam up so that I can actually see what she looks like. The picture in my head is probably completely different to what the actual person is. But I know that if you and I went somewhere for a cup of coffee, we would be squealing with laughter, and it would just
Yeah,
be a
I'm
great
sure we
time.
would. It does
You
get
know.
wild.
But no pressure, Jen.
Carrie,
It's been how many years have we known each other that you still haven't done it? But it's okay, I still love you.
gosh.
But yeah. What when you first started getting connection with spirit? What was it that, because it wasn't always the squeal, you know? What was
Right.
it that you recognized that this was something different? Okay, that you knew
Um,
spirit was around at that point in time.
well, like I said, I always knew that
Mm-hmm.
spirit was around. Um,
Okay.
and I always, and my mother grew up with this. I grew up with it. My kids grew up with it. But I didn't open those doors up. When my husband passed away in '88, um, he didn't leave right away. The
Uh-huh.
craziest things were always happening at my home. But Chesla and I were together for 18 years. And
Okay.
he got sick. He got diabetes. Over the years, he was getting sicker. Somebody had to, be with him. Um, I just, it was nuts because I would know. I would be at work and I would know something would say, something's wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
need to get home. And it wouldn't leave me. And I've got to go. And I would get to the house just in time to, there were many a times, it was calling an ambulance. Many a times I'd find him there nearly comatose and I'd have to, bring his blood sugar levels back up. I don't know how many times that happened. I would, if he was out somewhere, I knew, so, okay, something's not right. I didn't, understand all the
Mm-hmm.
things that were coming in because it was coming in so much stronger. But it was actually the night that he passed.
Mm-hmm.
We had a conversation before he slept. He wanted my mom to stay. I just something just didn't seem right, and I had been, questioning. I would see the coloring in him changing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
He was actually afraid to die. He thought he was going to go to hell. Just the conversations we had. But
Okay.
he had said, he would make jokes. He was always talking about his funeral, always playing, But I was sleeping in a recliner chair because I was so afraid to be upstairs. And I could hear a pin drop in the house.
Okay.
But we had conversation one day, and I said if I ever round the corner and I see the hall lights out, if I ever flipped that bedroom switch on and saw you laying there, I would have a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
We always kept we had the house the house wired. This was a house that we had built back up from the 2x4s, and there were two hall lights that would stay on at night, and so he could see the washroom. And I was in the recliner, and I jumped up, and I just knew something was wrong. His little Maltese doggies came running in there and were pulling at me, and it felt like the whole house shook.
Okay.
And I stood there, and I, got my balance, and I went running through the kitchen, and as soon as I hit the living room, I saw that the hall lights were out and the bedroom light was on. So I knew what I was going to have to approach. I actually also slept with phones, and I already started calling 911. And when I saw him laid on the floor, of course, I reacted, and it was something terrible. But while I was waiting for the ambulance, and I was down on the floor with him, it was like he was telling me to get up and take a step back, because I'm thinking, oh my God, I could have saved him. I'm thinking, okay, it was his diabetes, his blood sugars dropped. If he would have called out, I could have saved him if I would have got up. And it was like he was telling me to stand up and take a step back.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't, I couldn't understand, but I did. I did it. I stood up. I looked at him, and it was like he was telling me to take a step back. And I stepped back right there at the doorway, and I looked around. Something told me, look around, and I could actually retrace his step foots. I could see that he had sat up on the bed. The dresser drawer was slightly ajar. I could actually, I knew exactly how it happened. And I said, this wasn't his diabetes. First, I was thinking it was his heart, that his heart gave out. But actually, it was an aneurysm, which he had been saying that he had. Nobody could detect one, never one was found, but it actually was an aneurysm from a fall that he got in the hospital when he was there having his lung surgery.
Yeah. They say that, some things are in people's heads, but trust me, they know it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I knew he was not going to leave. Of course, it takes forever for the coroner's office to get there. And, but I knew. I just, it was like he was, and I kept saying, in my head, it was like he was telling me, when my body leaves, I'm not. And he didn't. He didn't. He knew that, I was going to, go through hell. And he did. He stayed with me. And I'm telling you, everything that, hey, he prepared me for it. It was, everyone else thought I was crazy, but I knew I wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that you mentioned when Tesla crossed over and his sister almost crossed over, that things were not in order.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'd like for people to understand that, you know what, we got to get our shit together, because no matter what, when we do, it could be tomorrow, could be the day after. Nobody knows for sure. In general, nobody knows for sure. So get your shit together.
Yeah.
I'm cussing on my own show again.
Yeah, it was just, we had just gone to the doctor on the 10th, and it wasn't, his heart doctor, his lung doctor. It was the wound doctor, and he had a wound on his foot, and it was acting up again. We had an appointment that day, and I won't call him a friend. I will call him an associate of his. My daughter and I were there, and he happened to come. Chesla did not have a good relationship with his children. They didn't do a damn thing for him. They hadn't had anything to do with him. And he had just showed up at the house about an hour and a half before we were getting ready to leave. And when he came in the door, he said, "Hurry up and die, Mr. Hill. Your boys want to take your house." And my daughter and I just in shock. This guy was an idiot, so but I paid attention. And so did he. And we went to the doctor, and the doctor made a statement about you've got a irregular heartbeat. And on the way home, he said, "Make sure you have those papers ready. We're going to the notary of the public in the morning to take care of the details on the house." Well, the next morning never got here. Yeah. I did. I had the papers ready, and everything was ready. But yeah.
Yeah, we can only, hindsight is 2020. So yep. This is like anybody who's listening now here in the chat room and in the archives, get your shit together. Don't wait, because just
procrastination.
You never know what exactly people that you leave behind have things to deal with. You know, and for those of you who say, well, they can deal with it, that's very selfish. But
yeah,
hey, Sylvie, right? Now, one of the reasons why I asked you, what is it you felt? Now, I'm going to go a little bit more into using me as an example. When I know that it's two things I get. When I know that spirit's here, okay, and I've got to do something or say something or whatever the heck it is I got to do, I get the shiver on this side.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you, okay, the right side, people. Right side. Okay, for those of you who don't have camera and just listening to me in the MP3, my right side, from my shoulder down to my the whole arm, just gets this like goosebumpy, pimply. I'm like, okay, fine. But one other thing that I've noticed, and it happens when I go to shows, and it's not because people are boring, but when I know that spirit is close, and this is the only way I can figure it, is that I yawn. People are like, you're bored? No, I'm not bored. This is me. It's like, because I can be up any other time, but it only happens when I go to a show. When a show is that important to me that I go to, or a guest on my show is that important to me, I start getting these, my guides calling cards. Could you not have me going in the middle of the show? Because I'm on camera, dudes. But that's what I'm saying. When you get that connection with spirit, was there one thing that gave hold on a second, that gave you that hello, this is happening, this is a connection?
Oh, I just, like I said, I can feel it. I get the shiver, the tingles. My body feels like I get the tingling on the head. See the blue part. There's so many things that go on with me, and I do have some new things coming in. But it's always something. Never in a million years did I think this was going to happen. I mean, I always knew that I was connected with spirit. I knew that I could see them. I knew that I could smell them. I could feel them. But yes, and I did talk to them. Yes, I would talk to them, but I never thought that we'd be communicating the way we do.
Yeah.
We've got, but I don't think I could, handle it any other way now. I mean, it's just so exciting that, to be able to do this. And, I love it that so many more people are so much more open to it. A lot of people, it's the fear. Who wants to see somebody that's been gone, so many years walking down their hallway? But yeah, I don't think I could handle it any other way anymore.
No, I think I happen to agree. Our lives have changed for a reason. And hang on a second. Anybody who wants to get a hold of Jennifer, her information is in the chat room. She has a website. She has a website and she has a Facebook. Get a hold of her. Ask your questions. She's pretty fucking amazing. She's freaking amazing. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna have to put an
we got
adult
potty
conversation on
mouths.
this
Oh
one.
well.
We got potty. Yes, we do. I'm gonna have to put an adult warning on this one because I used the F bomb. Sorry, Jenny.
But you know what? That's hey, and that's another thing. I I keep it real. I keep it real. I mean, that's what kept me from. I would always say, "Oh my goodness, I can't do that. I cuss. Oh my goodness, I smoke cigarettes. Ooh, ooh, I don't like something somebody's doing. And everybody. So you don't think you can do this because of that? No, um,
Mhm.
but I couldn't change. I'm just like but I do. I keep it real. Like, you're supposed to put it, you're not supposed to change. Um,
Yeah.
and I do. I tell it like it is nicely. I nicely tell it like it is, but I'm not gonna, what I get, I'm going to give. And if grandma
Exactly.
tells me to cuss, which, thank goodness I do have some, fun loving, spirits. I mean, I've had grandmothers that have, forced me to cuss. And yes, I do say forced.
Mhm.
Some of the craziest things have come out in readings, and I would be like, oh my goodness, I can't say that, and
Mhm.
I'd have somebody, yes, you can say it. And I'd start cussing and they'd be, squealing on the other side. Oh my God, now I know it's grandma because that's exactly how she talked.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
give it
Exactly.
like you get it.
Yeah. Some people, and people think that because you see one person one way and another person another way, um, you know, that we're not all the same. And we get messages from spirit differently, and we give
Yes.
messages from spirit differently. I have once been accused of being straight laced, and I can't remember the other word she used. And I was like, I could be a potty mouth. It's just that when I'm connecting with spirit for some reason, so far, knock on wood, knock on wood, I haven't been a potty mouth much. You know, shit, damn, but and I know one day it's gonna come, and I'm gonna be like, I'm a blush like a trooper when I have to say these words, but here goes, and I'm getting used to that. I'm getting used to that idea.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it happens. I
Excuse me, hold on one second. Brian, you're perfect. Where? Okay, love you. Sorry, I had to. But yeah, no, we this is one thing that everybody has to understand is that everybody's different.
yeah.
I once heard somebody who did a really awesome tarot reading, and but her as a person I wasn't impressed with. And her potty mouth, trust me, truck drivers, sailors, and stomping your toe on the wooden door, all the words that came out of this woman's mouth was like shocking to me. But I knew that it was her way of doing it, and everybody who got a reading from her did. Thank you. Gonna make me blush now. Everybody who got a reading from her was saying how spot on she was, but her way of doing it wasn't my way of doing it. And because I didn't join in on the yeehaw train, that she called me like straight laced and uppity, and I was like, no, no, it's not me. It's just that I don't do it the way you do it. I don't.
Right.
It's not that I can't agree. It's like, no, no, nobody can. Don't you best behave yourself. People are trying to make me blush in the chat room. Thank God, there's nobody here that doesn't know me. But yeah, so you have started a new page on Facebook, and you have some very amazing people.
Oh, my
And
violet flame.
well, yeah, it
Yes.
wasn't just new started. It's been there. It's just been given
Yeah.
a jump start with the paddles of.
Yeah. Well, I had to, when I was, I did get a certificate. But we won't even go there with that now. But, yes, I had to go to do some readings in some chat rooms. And although, I did, that was a great lesson for me. Um, but yes, Violet Flame psychic mediumship readings. Yes. And that's supernatural. Her Corinne and Jackie were encouraging me, to open this group. I had been in some reading rooms and I didn't like a lot of things that I was seeing. So many people get hung up on asking psychic questions for, what should I eat for breakfast in the morning? What should I wear tomorrow? I mean, it just got ridiculous. Some of the
What
things that
is what is the craziest question you've ever been asked to answer from spirit?
what
That's
have,
my
oh my goodness. Oh, there's been so many, I can't even think. There's just been so many. Some of them
when am
I
I
just
going?
sit back and roll my eyes. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I don't like people
Supernatural in
asking
the
me,
chat room. In case anybody
when am I
doesn't
gonna
get the
die?
chat room,
Yeah. Oh God,
that's
don't
exactly
ask me
the
that.
question. When somebody comes to a psychic or a reader or whatever, when am I going to die?
Right. Or
When your
when,
time is up,
yeah.
dude. Seriously,
Or,
sometimes I think the questions that are asked, people don't really honestly think about it. Because when I go into a show and people say, "Oh, you have to ask a question," I get a question in my head, and then the other side of me goes, "Hello, this is the answer, you silly child." So some
right.
people, I think, are not listening. Because everybody has the ability to hear spirit. They just have to listen and pay attention.
Hmm.
So yeah, I like I like Supergirl. As soon as I kill you, okay,
Yeah,
then something else.
I didn't like the reading rooms, and I was
Mhm.
quite appalled at some of the things that I was seeing. Sometimes you could go in there and get four different readers to give you a reading, and they were just letting anybody practice, anybody read on you. So
Okay.
I kept giving it a lot of thought, and I was like, okay, I'm going to open a private reading room, and this will be for appointments. Some things you just don't want out there aired for everybody to see. Some
Mhm.
things are meant more privately. And even when I was taking the classes, there were times I refused. I'm like, I have to do this as private because the
Yeah.
things that I'm getting should not be put out there. And thank goodness, I was given the opportunity to do so. But yeah, I decided I was going to open this group. Things got in the way. And yes, the about getting pregnant thing, that's another one. Um, people ask all the time, am I going to get pregnant? Well, are you doing something to get pregnant? Or, you know, but it really bothered me. And then I put that aside and I, actually, it was Corinne that added me
I was waiting for that
to
one.
some crazy reading rooms. And I went into some of these crazy reading rooms, and when I started seeing some of the stuff, I was like, my goodness, you have got to be kidding me. And I actually, one of them, oh yeah, they were wild. I actually left one of them right away, but for some reason I stayed in one, and I was watching a young lady. I would never comment. I would never socialize. I went in as the observer, I think. And there was a
Okay.
young lady that I was watching by the name of Rachel. Um, and I was, watching and paying attention. And before, I says, I'm going to leave this group, but I'm going to take her with me. And
Hmm.
I approached her and I asked her if we could message and maybe speak. And we did. And I told her, I've had this room, had to check to make sure it was still there. I had
Hmm.
seen it a couple times during the past few weeks. Spirit kept telling me to open it. And I spoke to her and I was like, okay, we're open. And we opened the doors. So, but this is not a reading room that, you can just come in and get read all the time. I do have rules. I expect the rules, and the guidelines to, stay intact. and I do, I like when people ask questions, open discussions, things like that. So that's what it's about. But yes, I have some amazing readers, very amazing readers. I don't, I have had people just come in there thinking that they can read in the group, and we've had a few, but I don't have those issues anymore. But yes, Corinne DeWinter's there, Shelby Aesthetic. I got Rachel, White. Oh, yes, yes. Thank you, Cheryl. I've got Aiden Lucid. Yeah, Selena Barilla.
Well, all these names, these lovely names that you're dropping, my darling, how would you like to have a
Diane
reading
Hamilton,
night,
yes, angel card reader.
on my show? Ask your readers if they would like to come on and just be, you know how I am, right? We have a good
Yeah.
time. If they would just like to come in, and then for those readers who are, or psychics, mediums, whatever, that are nervous about it and afraid to step up to the
No,
plate
my
because of
readers
anything.
have my readers. They're awesome, amazing, and no, anybody
Mm-hmm.
that was shy
No, but I
is
have
no
a few
longer
that are
shy.
I have a few that are kind of shy about what they can do,
Yeah,
and
no,
I think there's one in the room. I think that she's in the room. That if they were in a show
yep,
with experienced readers who were given that open venue to say, "Hey, look, I can do it," because you got
yeah,
to have, I'm one to say, I don't doubt spirit. It's this person here that I doubt. I doubt myself,
yeah.
and I'm learning to get past it. I'm learning to get past it. And some people only, oh, shut up, Brian. Um, um, some people just, they have to get on that horse, but they have to have a room
Yes,
filled with friends who are willing to, it's a safe and open place, and this is
get
what it
on
is. So
that horse.
we'll we'll
Yes, get
we'll
on the
we'll
horse.
we will take a we'll have a conversation, you, me, and the lady who's all about pushing people and sitting in the background, Corinne. Purple plates. We're gonna have a conversation, and we're gonna have a show where we can have a lot of people, and
Yeah, nobody's shy anymore. I mean, amazing. Those that were shy, no longer shy. We don't tolerate shy. If you were shy when you first started, and some of them were, they,
mhm.
like I said, they are very vocal. I'm very, very proud of how far they have all come, and we all feed off of each other. It's amazing.
Mhm.
We have a little chat, and I get really excited. Things that come up, but the energy, it just bounces off of each other. It's just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think this is one thing that is needed out there, and I know you do it in your group, and I would like to, because I have a few friends that are just kind of like, but it gives them a place to feel comfortable. So for
Hmm.
those people who are listening and a little bit not sure about stepping out into the public, go join Jennifer's group, Cheryl. Okay. So because she's in the room, let's talk about Miss Purple Plates.
Yes. What would you like to
How did
say about Corinne?
how did how did you two get to know each other?
Corinne, oh, many, many years ago, um, I was at Curious Times every single night, um, up on the blog talk, yes, many moons ago. And Corinne, and, actually, one night I called in, my computer was acting up, and I called in on a show, and Corinne, quiet? Is he crazy? Scott, oh God, no. Corinne's not quiet. Um, but yeah, I happened to call in, and Joshua John had gotten in on the line. Corinne called in,
Mm-hmm.
and Corinne actually ended up giving me a reading. Um, Floored me. Yeah, she brought up my late husband. Actually, she brought up somebody that had passed, a little boy that had passed. She brought up the name Jeffrey, which this was yes, Josh is reading too. It was really crazy. And then Corinne and I just became very good friends ever since then. It was just wild. But yeah, it blew me away. But yeah, it was my late husband that it came through, you know. But yes, Corinne's coming off a long way too.
Yes, I do. I remember meeting Corinne. We
Hell,
connected
fun.
with her dad, and but yes, I think how rude. Yeah, sort of got off the track here. But there's have you ever felt that there's the reason that Cheryl, don't be trying to hide, scapegoat nobody, because your ass is on the show in a couple of weeks. That there's a reason that you two were pulled together. And why I'm
Oh,
asking this question, I haven't the foggiest idea, but you know, shit happened. That's okay. Why?
why
Let's
we
come
were
from.
pulled together?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is, there's always reasons for everything. You know, you're always pulled for reasons, but um, there's a lot of reasons. But
Mm-hmm.
just lately, I can't go into detail yet. I still haven't got a chance to really discuss it thoroughly with Corinne, but um, it's yes, we did have a very big signal the other day. Um, Corinne is Purple Plates Tesla, and I am Jennifer's Journey Chesala.
Mm-hmm.
And never before what I thought, but I started having some of the craziest visions, the craziest thoughts, the craziest dreams about Tesla. And actually, I haven't even got a chance to tell Corinne yet, but I'll tell her now. Actually, the last month, I thought that I was seeing Nikola Tesla. And I'd be like, okay, no, that was a picture. But it was confirmed at 1:37 a.m. this morning. I was woke up and told, yes, that this is real. 1:37 is the time I was actually born. And I knew it was going to get crazy last night. But I did. I wrote a letter out, just like I did 7 years ago. And I laid it on the table and left it on the table. And he answered me. Um, I asked for some specific things. I asked some specific questions, and I was given those answers. But yes, it's been really wild. But yes, just the other night, Corinne invited me to listen in on some things, and I'm still in awe about all that. But yeah, I do. I believe there's some things gonna happen.
Okay. Like I said, I don't,
My
conversation with friends.
spirits
Sometimes
know
it's
who
like
I
that.
need to connect with. I mean,
Yes.
Corinne's mouthy like me, she'll admit that. Corinne's
No,
mouthy,
she's
she's
not.
lively, she's got a lot of energy a free spirit, things like and that's who my they take you where you need to be. It's nuts, just like you and I. We started doing the show together.
Yep.
Um, just the
Frequency of
crazy
light.
thing,
Points
yes,
in the room.
and just the crazy things that started happening, and
Mm-hmm.
then we started hearing things, and the reverse speech started. I started going over to the to do this reverse speech, which I started doing sessions that took me places. The graduation ceremony where we heard Angel Meadows, and you were going back to Angel. It just we go in different directions, and
Mm-hmm.
things just work out differently. But yeah, spirit works in mysterious ways.
Yes, it does. Yes, they do. Okay. And no, Corinne is not mouthy at all. You can't hear her from across the room. Mm-mm. No, Corinne is an angel, and she, when I connected with her back in the day, um, there's always something very special about her, and you two fit together so well. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not even sure why this question had to come up, but it had to come up because it's, flirting, and so I had to ask. So that's why you needed to tell her what you needed to tell her, and I'm just showing
Oh
her
yeah, it's
gratitude. I
just,
love
I
you.
mean, it gets wild. It
I
does. It
know.
gets wild. It
And I love the connections that we have with people and with spirit. And it's sometimes it's like you have no idea why shit happens until you have to take a step back and go, what the heck? And but you have to sit there and listen, and you have to see what's what.
yes.
um so do you have anything crazy coming up?
Do I have anything crazy coming up? Um,
Do you have something coming up?
well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm, I had taken a little step back. I had a lot of people private messaging me. I still do that. I've been doing readings. I was doing some mentoring. I'm still doing a little bit of that. Yes, I have been automatic writing, um, channeling. Um, I know that I need to really be, really creative with my hands. I was having some
Mm-hmm.
issues with my hands, the energy. It was just, I mean, I can't even describe it. But yes, I was told that there was going to be some things coming in, and everybody kept coming up with the number 3. And I felt 3 too. But I think that, yeah, I'm going to be getting into a mix of things. Some things that I've been, writing down, and but yeah, but I'm taking. Where are you going to do those
When are you
mandalas?
going to do those Mandelas you're supposed to be creating, Jennifer? And that's from Scott Stevenson in the chat room.
The mandalas.
Tell us.
Is that something new, Scott?
I'm assuming Scott's getting the same question nudging that.
Really?
Mm, so
Well,
he's
if
gonna
that's something
put
I'm
that one.
supposed to do, and you're getting this, Scott, I think you need to tell me about that. But that's pretty interesting as well. No, yes, he is going to have
What?
to tell, because that
Yeah.
is interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
that is
Scott, you could
very
read that.
interesting. Very
We can bring him
interesting.
online. You want to bring him
You know
online?
what? Hey, if he wants to come on, he might as well, because that does play into something that I was told about.
Oh dear.
Scott.
Oh
Oh
dear. Oh
dear.
God.
It just popped in my head when you said that you were going to be doing all this creative stuff. You're supposed to be doing mandalas, the ones with all
Ah.
the crystals and the fancy drawings and the patterns and all that. You create them for the front of houses and for inside houses, all those sort of stuff. I thought you knew. I thought you'd been told this before.
Oh, no, I've been told, about, there a lot of the creative stuff is, and I used to be very creative. But yeah, I was told that I was going to be doing a lot of creating, and colors. Um, yes, I'm just very into the colors again lately. They just pop out at me. But yeah, that's very interesting that you say that,
But they're
because
also going to be.
colors.
You're also going to program them to full moon events and other events with the stars and alignments and solar flares. All of that stuff's going to be involved in it. It's going to be quite, not just making a pretty pattern out of bits of metal and bits of glass and stuff. It's going to be real heavy duty, proper spiritual um, mandalas that celebrate events or for events, but very, very powerful. So it's going to be
Mm.
more than just your creative stuff. It's going to pull on all your spiritual knowledge and other abilities, including healing and all that sort of stuff as well. And you're going to create them for people. And I think it's not just the big ones that you see in people's gardens and houses. There's going to be little small ones that you can give to patients in the hospital and stuff.
Wow, very interesting. Why, thank you.
Right, can I close my mic off now, Darlene?
I'll close it for you. Thank you very much. Okay. You can use purple plates.
That's funny you should say that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Very funny you should say that.
We can use the plates. This is what I love about my show, is that we bring everybody into it. Diane in the chat room asked who's got the cat? I'm assuming it's somebody in chat who's got a cat. Yes, Diane, she is. She can hear a cat.
Really?
You don't have a cat, Jennifer?
No.
And I know
I've got a tiger.
Yeah, a tiger and a tiger. And I got a black jag.
I've got a tiger, but no.
Well, we'll see. In the vicinity. And I know Scott doesn't have a cat. He's got 2 giant Akitas. And they would be stuffed. They'd have to be stuffed cats if they were in Scott's house. They would eat it. Oh, please. Akitas got killer bunny rabbits. Anyway. So Mandela's, put that on your list.
Yes. Oh, believe me, I won't forget about that.
Of course not. Scott's sort of put that in your brain now with that lovely little. So I heard it while Scott was talking. Scott, do you have something on in the TV? Pay attention.
Now, I had a cat that passed away many years ago. I did ask, that's funny, Corinne. I did ask. I said, hey, some EVPs would be cool if they came up. I love when that happens.
Yeah. Well, we'll listen back in the conversation, and we'll go back. Okay,
yes,
it's time now, 7:38. This is halfway through the show. We have to go back and listen to the cats. A cat.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool if it was EVP. And I did say, hey, if you want to pull some of that, go ahead.
Well, we will definitely have to. We'll definitely have to listen back to the show. It should be ready for, depending on when it gets fixed, when Jenny does her magic. I would say sometime later tonight, if not tomorrow. The child, it's Sunday, and it's time, daylight savings time, or daylight. I don't know what change my clock time it is, but I mean, I forgot to tell people about the time change, which I'm sure I'll get in trouble for.
Yeah, like I said, I changed mine yesterday afternoon, so I would be prepared for it.
Well, anybody in the chat room, most people know you, but anybody in the chat room have a question for Jennifer, please type it in capital letters, or put your hand up, and you can mic up, and you can come online, and we can chit chat, and there we go. Jennifer, I don't do the dog and pony show, but if you're drawn to anybody in the chat room, and you can always step up and say, hello, I have something, or I want to know. Sorry. I can't read and talk at the same time. I'm like a crazy. Talk about cat. The cat, something shiny caught my eye. Scott, stop talking.
Yeah, I'm going to have to listen back to that and see.
Yeah. That's true. So, or Cheryl could give Jennifer a read. No. We're saving Cheryl.
Oh.
We're saving Cheryl for the 25th. Cheryl's going to be coming on the show on the 25th. She will be my guest. And do you know that I even had her husband write her bio because she was like too shy. That's why I was talking about shy.
Yeah, that's funny too, because you had asked for a bio, and I said I'm gonna change it up a bit, and I had typed up my bio, and I copied it and pasted it, and I went to send it to you, and poof, it was gone. And
Okay.
I went back. Yes, I went back and I looked and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I know it was in, I know I had it in document. I went
Mhm.
back and I checked everything, checked everywhere. And I was like, this is crazy. Where did it go? And I went and I got busy and I started doing some things. And, I knew that it was today and it was 3/11 and, some crazy things started coming to my head. And, finally I'm like, he wants me to give him some recognition and some credit for all the craziness. And I heard a laugh. And so, I came back and I typed up the other,
Mhm.
little bio. And after I sent it, well, it did reappear. Um,
Is it?
yeah, it reappeared. I was like, okay, but I knew, it was meant to be. Just like a card. I had a card, my Dove card, came up missing. And I was like, stop everything, I can't. My Dove card came up missing. It's got to be found. And I did. I put a, little note on the desk. Okay, joke's over. I know what that's all about. Please return the Dove card. And it
Mhm.
was returned. It was the same time, 12/12. It came up missing on the 6th. And it appeared yesterday, 12/12.
Your
My Dove card,
Dove
yes.
card?
Yes,
Okay.
something told me. Yeah, yeah, it was nuts. Um Something told me to check the box and I had checked it like 6, 7 times. I went
Mhm.
through every card. I looked everywhere. I mean, I was it was terrible. I like stop everything, gotta find, but it was there. Left a note on the desk. Please return my Dove card. It was there.
Yeah, we have silliness going on in the chat room. Cheryl, did you bring us back a plate? Like we're hungry here? Hello? Okay. So no message, no questions from the chat room. No, you're just like too well known. You were supposed to bring me back a plate of food. Hopefully you just didn't give it all to hubby. I was
We were
hungry.
discussing the case against reincarnation last night. What are your thoughts? Ah, that's it. I've seen, I've been watching a little bit of that. I honestly, I mean, I've got a lot of thoughts on a lot of different things, but Darlene, what are your thoughts on reincarnation?
My thoughts on reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe it's changed over the years? So,
Yes.
I mean, but for right now, do I believe that people come back? Because yes, we have unfinished business
Yes.
and we haven't learned the message that what we were supposed to learn in this lifetime. Have I done this life before ish? Yes. Will I do it again? I have a sneaking suspicion I will, because I just haven't done what I need to finish. And I've got a few years to do it, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
But yes, I do believe in reincarnation. I
Yes, I do
also
too.
believe there are many people who believe that a human has to come back as a humanoid, an animal has to come back as an animal. But I have my doubts on that one.
Yeah,
Because
I do too.
because I've seen in animals intensities that were so human like, and just it can't be, you know um
See, I feel like I have been here. I mean, even during my childhood. Matter of fact, it was during my teenage years that
mm,
I would wake up, looking for my gypsy clothes and my jewelry. I'd be getting really upset. Places that people we've never been there, and I'm like, sure we have. I've been there. You may not have, but I have. things I was always attracted to, the crystal balls, Stevie Nicks clothes. I mean, I just couldn't understand it. And years later, I was told, I mean, all Romania, I felt I had been there. I would go to the South and I'd be like, these buildings, I just felt like I belonged there. But it was the buildings and the green, the grass, the trees, everything just resonated. So, like I had been there. But I was told, I was always questioning things. And I was told that when I was a young teenage girl in Romania, that I lived in a castle and I was a, psychic medium. I was sent away for a while, but, then brought back. I so felt that. There's other things that, that I just know that I have been here. Kids, children, I pay attention, when they're talking and, they're telling me, about what they did when they were here before they died. It's like, they're just, chatting away. But yeah, it's, I believe in it. I really do.
Well, I had a dream. No, you had a dream anyway. And I spoke to a very dear friend and told him about it, and he helped me figure it out. I've always been, if you look at my friends list, I've got at least 75 to 80% of my friends are over in the UK, over in Europe. And I've always been drawn to the UK, and this dream was me walking on a pier, in a specific type of clothing, and I spoke to a friend about it, and as I'm talking about the describing the dream and why I was drawn to one person to say this dream, I have no idea, but as I was describing the dream, more of it kept coming out, and he was able to find the pier, he was able to find the era, the view that I was seeing, he could, so it broke it down. So yeah, there we go. See, I've been here before, but I wasn't, but I wasn't here in Canada. I was over in the UK. So maybe I need to get back there. Kick some booty over in the UK. Hello, Scott. I'm coming over. Hello, Scott.
Yeah,
the cheetahs will love me. No, I don't know if it's, I can't say it was deja vu. It's because, deja vu would be like, for me, deja vu is when I'm awake and it's just like, at that moment, it's like, whoop, did this before, but this was, a past life recall. And it was so intense that, like I said, when I started spilling the story to this friend, and the reason I figured out after all the conversation that I was able to tell him about it was because there was a connection to us in that life, so there's that connection. We still have a connection, but it's not, it's not what the dream was. It was just sort of, the dream was just my reminder of saying hello, So yeah, reincarnation is, I've never been one to doubt things. You kind of sort of have to prove me that it doesn't happen or it doesn't exist, because I do believe that it does,
Right.
Yeah, like I've been there before. Yeah. So it's one of those things that I'm like, prove to me it happened, because I believe that it does. When people say, I can remember one time, way back in the beginning, I did a post on one of my pages, and I commented that they used the she when it came to an angel, and somebody said, I was a devil worshiper because angels were male, and I said to the gentleman, I said, I'm sorry, but angels actually have no sex. They're and it wasn't because I knew this, it just sort of, I knew it, but I didn't know it, So you have to get that stuff, that there are things that we know, we just don't realize it until it's necessary. So there's a whole bunch of stuff stored in the back of your little brains back here in your subconscious. And when we need it, it pops forward. So for me, reincarnation is something that, yeah, it's there. To me, I prove it to myself that it was, it happened. Prove it to me that it's not, like you have those skeptics that go out in the world and prove that it's not real. Prove to me that it's not real, or prove it that it's real, whatever. I'm the other one. I believe in pretty much anything, pretty much. I mean, I've seen a gentleman who left this chat room, Brian. I've seen him. He's he's telepathic. No, he can read minds. He's not here, so I'll get him to go back and listen to the show. He can read minds, and he did mine, which was really scary. There's certain minds, areas of my doors that were closed off, and he knew that not to go into there. But it happens. People don't believe in it, but it does happen. Yeah, there you go. So, but
yes, I believe in it. Matter of fact, my mother, many, many years ago, when I was afraid of the psychic and mediums, didn't want anything to do with them. My mother and my sister used to go all the time. And my mother, there were things that really bothered her throughout her life. And they did not talk. They did not talk about a lot of this stuff. It was all kept on a down low, very secretive when they were growing up. But she went to see Larry Garrett in Chicago. Very well-known man. And she did past life regression. And she said it helped her tremendously. But she was able to, figure out what her fear of the water was, what the fear, and she truly believed, it was a past life experience. I would like to do a past life regression. Actually, I've been, getting into some of those things as well, doing some studying and things. And yes, Leo, I've seen Leo on Facebook, Corinne.
Yeah, he's been around. My little doll, he's still around. Hey, Eric, sorry, I forgot about the time change. Oops.
Hey, Eric.
I lost the question. I had a question, and Eric came in the chat room, and I was like, "Oh, Eric's here." I would like one of the shows I want to do in the future, and you missed the whole damn show. I didn't tell you there was a time change. That's what happened. Is about grounding, So that's one of the things. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be, but there are so many people. In about half an hour, but you can stick around. Don't worry. Jeez, don't run away already. About grounding is how people do it, and how important it is, because some people don't do it. And Brian was one that he used to go to places, and the stuff that came into his head was way too much, so he learned how to ground himself. So I would like to do a show on different ways of grounding, the different way people ground themselves and bubble themselves as protection, whether it's from the good, the bad, or the ugly. But
yeah, I mean, I do it, I used to love to be barefoot. Nowadays, it's a little dangerous to be out there barefoot, but I imagine myself, I mean, I do go out, at the edge of the stairs, but I do, I get out there and stand in the green grass, and but I imagine myself, my feet, bare, standing there, the roots, coming out. I do this visually. And Cheryl and Diane, you say that there's, kind of learn on your own. I didn't have anybody here, and I was like hiding in the closet, because so much was coming. But I was led. It was actually a psychic medium that I was listening, trying to listen to something. Chesla actually popped him in my head. Trying to listen to something strange happened, and I was led to Robert Sharp shows, which led me to all the wonderful people that a lot of them aren't around anymore, but I had to do it my way, just like Frank Sinatra. And I had to learn through those things. I had to find, The people appeared when you're, what they say, when you're ready to learn, the teacher appears. Pay attention to everything. Everything becomes your teacher. And that's how I learned. It wasn't, I read books, I wrote, I studied everything that would happen, things I would hear in my head. Yeah, it got a little crazy at times, but it was all worth it. And you'll always, the teacher will always appear.
Yeah, and the teacher is not always an actual physical person.
Yep.
Because I, for one, as an example, the stuff that I've, I never learned anything. I wasn't brought up with spiritualism in my household.
Right.
But I knew that there was something. I had an eye-opening event, and I just sort of said, okay, it's time, and I've been learning every step of the way. I had learned Reiki because my Reiki master had asked me a question in a chat room that we were in, one that I'd never been into before. But I went into it and on Facebook, and this gentleman came up to me and says, yeah, da, 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 da. And he's like, why don't you, I was like, for me, the here and the now, it's not an option,
Right.
to learn things, spiritualist churches. Eric has talked about many of them. Brian's been to a few. Scott's been to. I've never been to one. So we had Eric come and do a spiritualist service on the show, and it was awesome. And it's things that we can't get to physically get to them. I can't walk into a building that's considered a spiritualist church, even though I'm pretty sure there are some around here, but they'd be in French. But anyway, but I learned it here. We learn it, different things from different people at different times.
Yes.
And this is what I like. This, people, can cuss and can complain and, oh my God, you're always on Facebook and yeah, but Facebook is one heck of a great place to meet people, and it's a learning experience.
Yeah, music too. Music's with me. I can meditate to music. Music gets me to relax. It gets me to loosen up, and spirit, very often gives me message in song. But yes, it's just, when I first decided, it was John Edward, and when I was younger, I had this thing about John Edward. It was like when he was on TV, it was like he was looking and speaking right to me. I started reading his books, and I was like, this is crazy. The synchronicities between, it was like, you got to be kidding. Things that were happening to him, started happening. And to me, it was like, this is nuts. And then I got hooked up with Sandy Anastasi. And that is who was supposed to teach John Edward. And then I started doing some chat roles with her. And she said something about, a teacher and things later on. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And she says, it's not, the degrees and the education. It's the thing, the life experiences, the things that you've gone through yourself. Those are the teachings. Just recently got hooked up, back with her again too. It's just amazing how the circle, comes around full circle, but it does. When it's meant to happen, it does happen.
Where Cheryl lives, she says, you can throw a stone and hit 10 churches within 5 feet, but mentioning readings or cards, things, sends you on the road to hell.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I couldn't find a spiritualist church around here, and everything that was open was closed. And I had somebody reach out to me from the group one day, and that turned out she ended up giving me a reading, and the things that came out was like, wow. And she had mentioned something about a spiritualist church, and I was like, I started looking again, and I found a church not 7-8 minutes from me And it was really strange because this woman is from Virginia. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd called the church. The man told me to call the next day. And the woman that I was looking to speak with, her name was Virginia. And I was shocked because I never knew this place was there. I never knew about it. It's not far from me at all. Um, and they do, the first thing I saw was, you know, dream exploration. And I'm like, a church, dream exploration? Are you kidding me? And then I started looking at all the other things. When
Mm-hmm.
Virginia called me, we hit it off right away. She doesn't live too far from me, and we started talking. And I'm told her I was looking for something that was more spiritual. And, then she's like, oh, well, you're going to fit right in because we have, and she started telling me all the things about their church. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I think I found my place.
Yeah.
So.
We have the conversation of churches is abundant in the chat room. Um, the reason I want to go to a church, to a spiritual church, I was born and raised. I was
Yeah.
raised Catholic. I can't say I was born. I was raised Catholic, and the Catholic Church is always their beliefs.
Mm,
I pick and choose the ones that I like,
right.
the ones that fit me. I've never been, you cannot stick me into a box and say, this is where Darlene belongs. Because
Hmm.
Darlene kind of gets a little bit, I learn about this and a little bit of that. And I enjoy the eclectic connection that I have to spirit and to churches and to spirituality. The tongue's not working real good. But I think that if the churches are not, you're saying that a lot of the churches are getting very political, and it's all about the money, then yeah, that's not the church for you.
Right.
You'll find what it is. Whether it's a church of your own making in the woods, then so be it.
Yes.
Because there are so many that what used to be the house next door used to be woods. There were so many little creatures there that and that was their church, was the woods.
Mm,
But for some people it's by the water, to hear
yeah.
the brook talk to you. So it doesn't actually have, but it's just something I need to, and there's the first time I said need, I need to go to, I need to go and see one, go and be there, and
Right.
just, but I'll know it when I find it, which one it is. Maybe I'll have to go to the UK and go to one of Eric Lynn's churches, But yeah, so a church is not, it's not the physical building. To me, a church is a
Exactly.
spiritual building. It's here. Your church starts in your heart. It starts in your center, and you will and you will find the place where you need to be when it is time to be. Go to Lilydale. Yeah, it's in the States. It's a lot of Fred. Like my guest from the other week said that he goes there a lot, and I've heard a lot of good friends that go there. But the kingdom of God is within us. Thank you, Corinne. That is
Yeah.
Corinne.
Church in the
Yeah, right
woods, and
there.
that's where this place is. This place, their little church, it's very small, and it
Mm-hmm.
is. It's right there in the woods. They hold a lot of services and things on, outside, and so and it's not just um, it's because that's an outlet, and they have a lot of different things going on, and that
Mm-hmm.
you meet different people. Um, crazy things happen. And but I just love it. But yeah, I mean it's something, I'm not going to say I'm going to go to all the gatherings. I won't probably be there every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I go to church right here. Um, this is, what I do. I feel what I do is, is my church. I don't need a building or, certain, a lot of people surrounding me. But yeah, I just feel like it's an outlet. It's somewhere to go, something for a change, explore, see what's going on with other people.
And it's not gonna only be, like Diane says, she's very spiritual, but she doesn't need the bull,
Yep.
which is true. There's a lot of that. It starts off. Now we've all seen it. Well, most of us have seen it happen on Facebook. How
Yes.
everybody is so, love and light and farting, unicorns, fart, butterflies, and rainbows, and then something happens, and that light switch gets flipped like faster than you can, you want to shake a stick at.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's when the egos come in. Now everybody has an ego. It's just how you live with it and how you work with it, but the egos come in, and the backstabbing, and the I'm right, you're right, I'm right, you're wrong. It's like,
Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm not the type of person. I am the type of person who will tell you exactly what I think, very calmly. Sometimes it's really difficult, but I'll tell you very calmly what I believe, and then I will listen to what you believe, and I will entertain the thought that you know what, maybe it's something for me to learn. But if it's so out there that it's not out there, but if it's I can't even think of the word that would fit it. If it's so in my face, you want to put it in my face, and this is what the world is. This is exactly the way, there's Jesus. We're going to go Christ. Okay. Christ was the be all and the end all, and your Reiki and your angels and your all this. Because I've had this conversation with a very lovely Reverend, and, we've learned to agree to disagree,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, and I said, just hang on a second. I said, Jesus, when he healed people, what did he do? He put their hands on them.
Yeah.
Reiki? What is it? It's healing. My ascended masters, Jesus Christ is one of them. I'm not negating the fact that there was no such person, but you have to be open to the idea that, open to the idea that there's something more than just what your little box holds, yes, same here. I love Jesus. I have the, upbringing Catholic Church. Mary was a virgin. I have the human side of me has a really big problem with that. But, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I do believe, in that there is a higher creator up there. Now, whether you call him God, Buddha, Allah, Big Joe with the cup of coffee upstairs, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So long as you realize that there is something bigger than you.
Yeah, I just had
us.
Something interesting happen. A friend of mine had passed away in November, and it was interesting because her grandson's other grandmother sort of did a eulogy. I had a dream about a horse. Horse is a big symbol for me, and the horse was running free. I felt something was going to happen. But I had this dream about a horse. When she was doing the eulogy, she spoke of a dream that she had of a horse. Our dreams were a little differently. We got to speaking about it. Of course, because I'm psychic medium, I'm talking to the devil. Of course, she goes to this church and she's talking to God's talking to her. And she actually wanted to, she says, when I get back, I would like to take you to church. And, and I was like, no, thank you. What makes you think that you're talking to God? But I can't get messages, what, but, she, voiced her opinion. I voiced mine. We left it at that. Like I told her, thanks, but no thanks. And I just found out a couple weeks ago that she did take it to their, pastor. She had said something because she was, of course, afraid that the kids, that if Teresa believed that there was, life after death and that spirits communicated with us and things, she questioned that, which Teresa and I did talk about. She knew her mother hung around here. with me, her late husband, some other people. We
Mhm.
spoke on that, very openly, and she voiced her opinion. But the pastor, and I was quite shocked. His response was, the same. He says, "Well, things have changed, and what makes you think that she wasn't really, communicating with someone from the other side? Them letting her,
Mhm.
her know these things." I'm sure she wasn't too happy with that, but yeah, and I was quite pleased to hear that because their church, you know, there was no, spirit. The only spirit was the Holy Spirit, and you didn't communicate with the pastor did. Uh,
Right.
so,
And
but
I,
yeah,
and
it
I guess
was.
the people don't get it is that why is it so difficult? Why is there only one person, pastor,
Yeah,
priest, minister? Why are they the only ones who can connect? Why does your mind have to be so closed to the idea that Jennifer's getting, connection with spirit, her guides and her angels and her people from the other side that are coming over and giving, why can't that be? Yeah,
right.
okay. I'm gonna go off on my, angels and butterflies and farting unicorns with butterflies and rainbows. I think that we need for this place, for this planet to survive. I think we need to get our shit together and have an open mind to everything that goes on. Yes, we are human. Yes, we
Right.
each have our own ideas. We each have our own thing, but you and I have differences of opinions in certain things. I haven't figured it out yet what we disagree on, but I'm sure that there's things that we disagree on. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't stop us from being friends. If
Right.
if people people can Catholics can get along with Protestants, it's not a problem. Jews and Gentiles and all that other different blacks and whites, get the fuck along. Did that F word again? Shit. you know, get it. Get a grip, people. There are
Yeah.
things out there that are bigger than just you and I, and what we believe. Have an open mind. You know. So okay, hold on. Scott Stevenson, in the Church of the Nazarene, the one I went to, only the pastor and the elders could heal via the pastor.
Yeah. hmm And
Hmm.
that's what I was told. Somebody that goes to a church, they are a Baptist, and we would discuss these things, and they would talk about, oh, and they said this, and this came through, and that came through, and I'm like, I thought you just said you don't believe that anybody communicates with spirit. Oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
he can because he's a prophet. And I'm like, you don't say. So what makes you think, that there can't be other prophets? What makes you,
Mm-hmm.
why is he the only prophet? So nobody else can do this but him? You got to be kidding me. How is he going to get the word out? How is he going to communicate with everybody? Um, he's only one man. He's a
Mm-hmm.
man. Um,
Exactly.
but some people, they're so stuck in their beliefs, and can't help
Yeah.
themselves.
But eventually, spirit will crack that little nut that they call the closed safe of their brain, and
Yes,
but,
Diane. Yes.
unfortunately, some people can only get it once they cross over. Scott, we need to stop all the divisions, the boxes, the tribes that we live in and belong to. The more we divide and subdivide, the more we are being controlled, giving up freedoms. Very true.
Yeah.
Cheryl in the chat room says, Scott, that is why I have a problem with a lot of established religions. Again, religion is somebody else's belief, not yours. Because of only the few are allowed to help the others, and most of the time it's for money.
hmm
Diane, it's all control, mind control, and money, churches. It's I don't negate the fact that churches need to survive, so they do charge. It's like a psychic or a healer. They do charge because they do need to survive, but everybody is different. You know,
Right.
I know that I'm going to use Eric. I'm using Eric. He's been doing churches for a bajillion years. You know, he will do, if you connect with him on Facebook or Skype, he'll give you a reading and he won't charge you. But if you ask him to get a little butt into his car and go to your house, then he'll charge you because he's charging you for the first time in his petrol. I like the petrol word. But that's fine. And people need to charge to cover for what they need, you know. And as hard as it is, you know, some people don't get the idea that it's you know, was it somebody said, you know, you're going to ask a lawyer to, you know, or a plumber to give you an evaluation or to fix your thing, but you don't like the way it is, so you're not going to pay. No, they're going to come in and they're going to evaluate what you're going to do, and they're going to say, this is what needs to get done, and this needs to get fixed, and you're going to pay me for it. And a psychic, a healer, a medium, somebody else is the same thing. You know, if you call somebody up and said, I need a healing, then expect to have to, in some form or another, pay.
Yeah,
Now,
energy
it's not always exactly. It's not always cash. It's an energy exchange. I did a lovely in my beginning of my who I am. I did a lovely reading for somebody, and I said no because I'm just, you know, starting out. I don't want to charge me. So what she did was she knew I was looking for a Reiki table. She bought me a Reiki table, and that was her exchange. It wasn't a brand new. It was secondhand, but that was the exchange.
Yeah.
Now, you have to figure out that if you need something, that there is some way that you're going to have to pay for it. And like I said, it's not always in the cash. It's in, you know, but churches, everything is about, because they have the physical building, they have to pay for the, you know, the heating and the upkeep and the this,
Yeah.
and, you know, so they will be charging, you know. It just sometimes don't expect that. My thing is, don't expect to be paid, you know. Don't expect people to give you money. It's exchange of energies.
Yeah,
now, whether it's cash or whether it's, you know.
I was one that it was really hard for me. You know, everybody, you got to get a website, you got to do this. It was very hard for me, and I never turned anyone away. And sometimes I would get overloaded. I mean, sometimes I'd be up all hours of the night giving readings. I don't turn, you know, this was something that was, you know, very hard for me. And I was told, yes, you have to, it's an energy exchange and you're going to have to set something up. You're going to have to charge. You know, I've got bills too. You know, like I said, it was very hard. It turned people away. And I pay it forward, you know. I do try to help out as many people as I possibly can. But yes, a lot of people feel that just because you can do this, that you should do this for them, no matter what, no matter when. And there are a lot of people that do take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And for some people, if it's free, it's of no value. It's an amusement. And exactly, Scott, I was just talking about that. They value it much more.
Yes.
When they're having to pay for it. I had people booking appointment, you know, like, okay, I'll give you a reading. And, oh, well, I couldn't make it. I'm sorry. Well, I was sitting here waiting on you. I could have been doing something else and it was no big deal. And then they'd say, well, I'm ready now. I've got time now. Well, I don't. I can't. And they would get, you know, upset. I would have people messaging me in the middle of the night. They would see my little green light on and, you know, they would, you know, I mean, not a hello, not how are you? Hey, can you make a connection for me? And it'd be like, are you kidding me? And, you know, I would break down and do it. And it was getting to be, you know, a bit too much. And it was like, hey, I have to take a step back and refocus on this. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I've had quite a few lectures.
Hey, Marie. Somebody snuck in. I didn't see them. I saw the name now. Yeah, no. And I've been around when people have messaged you and they don't, we have a life. Jennifer has a life. Everybody has a life in the chat room outside of spirituality.
Yeah.
So if people don't get, and that gets me, is that people don't get, it's like my chat room, my stuff is usually always on, whether because it's on my phone or it's on my laptop, or
Right.
it's someone forgot to turn it off, whatever the case may be, it's always on. And I've actually had a few people try and do, the Facebook calling thing. I was like, nope,
Yeah.
I'm busy, or I'm just not, I'm not there. And it's like, message me, ask me. If I'm free, I'll have a conversation with you. Somebody once said to me, well, what do you charge? It's a conversation. Why am I going to charge somebody? I don't know how to charge. For my readings and my healing, I got that one. For my consultations, it's sorry, it's a conversation. It works. It works. It works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's no.
Well, many of my readings, yes, everyone wants a cheerleader. Many of my readings, I mean, I would get booked for a half hour or an hour, and they're like sometimes 3 and 4 hours long. I never cut spirit off. Once we get flowing,
exactly.
if these things are coming through, I'm not gonna charge you, more. But yeah, I mean, you have to draw a line. You have to set boundaries. And more people do respect. Like I said, I've been around for quite a while. I've seen a lot of things. I pay attention. I'm the observer. And it can get very ugly, and people do. They, will take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Carrie. I like what you said. If you're having a consultation and you have the money, pay and don't ask for it for free.
Yeah.
Yeesh. I understand. I get that, but I also don't know. I have this really. I can tell everybody how to survive their lives, how to live their lives, but I can't.
It's hard for you to do it
It's really
yourself.
hard.
Yes.
Yes. And Jennifer's really good at giving me homework for that one. It's like, Julian did this. I got called to the mat a couple of days ago when I did a Facebook Live. Somebody called me to the mat on something, and I said my connection wasn't, the connection everybody else has. And they was like, excuse me. I'm like, okay, take it back. I'm taking it back. So everybody is different, but I just don't know how. I don't know how to have a conversation, because to me it's a conversation. Have a consultation. You want to call and book me? There you go. Call and book me. Call Jennifer. She's my booking agent.
Yeah, usually if it'll start out a reading, and then it will just proceed through. And sometimes that does take a lot of time, but it all balances itself out.
Yeah, it does.
And it does. If it's, what is meant for them to hear is going to come out. And like I said, I don't cut that off.
Yeah.
But it's a good feeling when you help somebody else, and when you can help resolve their problems. And like I said, when you do that, usually a blessing in disguise comes along. It does. It gets paid forward.
Yeah, it does, exactly. Anyway, we are about at the end of the show. As I said, this was good. This show, I just had so much fun. I'm so glad that you came, because it's been a while since we actually had a conversation, and it's fun. We always have a good time. We always talk about everything and anything, and it's just a great time. A lot of people get readings also just want to be heard. Yes, true. Yeah. Exactly. So, but Jennifer, I thank you very, very much for coming on my show.
Yes, I enjoyed it.
Supernatural Radio should be getting getting her butt ready to come on my show as well, so we can have a conversation there too. But yeah, so no, thank you so much, and you know that you are most welcome to come back anytime. And I'm sure I will hit you up.
I will.
For get your readers over here to have a crazy reading night, a crazy fun night over at this house. And Cheryl, okay, everybody in the chat room, Carrie, Cheryl, Diane, Marie, Scott, Eric was here. Everybody who was here and who is here and was here, thank you for coming. It was a blast. Next week is Foxy G. Gina Bankston is my guest. She is a paranormal investigator and a whole other stuff. So y'all behave yourselves this week. Y'all have a good week. And I promise to make any more donut videos, Facebook Lives. Well, I might. You never know with me. It's so special that way. Night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here.